So we're continuing this Season for Nonviolence. The 20th anniversary kickoff was Monday. And it celebrates the birthdays of Martin Luther King, of Mahatma Gandhi, and also His Holiness the Dalai Lama. It runs all the way through April. And this week, we're talking about how we can make our mark. So our theme this month is always paralleled with the Science of Mind magazine. They put out an editorial list for the year, and I grab it, and then we ride along. We ride along with all the great material that's being generated and shared throughout the year, and have our own take on it. So, a couple things. The theme for this month is celebrating diversity. Also, yesterday was Rosa Parks' birthday, February 4th. Talk about a bold woman. And today our question is, how will you make your mark? How will you make history? Okay? I got this from the IB Times, and I wanted to read it to you as the way that we begin this morning. Parks didn't change the course of history for the United States by sitting on the couch. Follow her example and get things done. Get involved. Become a poll worker. Call your local elected officials, your senators and representatives. Attend public meetings in your community. Hold your own. Or go one step further and consider running for local office. And as it happens, there has been more engagement of late than there has been in quite some time as individuals respond to their realization that they would like life to be more and to be different. So a lot of this engagement is setting records right now, and that's a good thing. Life has pulled us off the couch, and that is a good thing. Life has pulled us all off the couch. So there's another theme kicking around in the month of February. Does anybody know what it is? St. Valentine, Russell Stover, Hallmark, and a few others have really made sure that we know that the theme for this month is love. Right? So everybody's on that bandwagon. Everything from little valentines that you can take to school. Remember those in elementary school? Oh, how sweet. Little candy-shaped hearts. Candy of every sort. It's all pink. There's all this talk of romance, marriage proposals, getaways, and all that stuff. But in our off-the-couchness right now, we have an opportunity to think about this theme of love in a deeper way, in a bigger way. One that's not superficial, one that's not commercialized, one that is more than that. Because truly, love is equated with God. Love is equated with the only power there is. Love is this thing that harmonizes. Love is this thing that creates. Love is this thing that soothes. Love is this thing that supports. Love is this thing that accomplishes anything. Love is it. And so in this time when we're thinking, I need to get off the couch, as comfortable as my couch is, and I need to make some history here. And I was thinking as I was brushing my teeth this morning, I don't mean, and I calculated, watching 13 straight seasons of some great TV show in record time. Unfortunately, I have done that, okay? I did it, like I worked at this catering company once, and we had these really great cookies. And instead of being forbidden to eat them, the owner said, eat them till you can't stand it anymore, and you'll be done, okay? So there's always that cure. But we feel moved to make history. And I suggest that we can allow love to help us find our way. The other thing about love is that we might say, who can love at a time like this? Who can't? How could we step into life in a meaningful way and make some good history if we didn't bring love along? And we know from spiritual studies of all sorts that love is already present. The question is, are we present for love? Have we made room for it? Are we open to it? Is it what we're focusing on? Are we allowing love to use us? I know that love can prepare a nice meal or a wonderful snack to accompany the binge watching on television. I prepare those lovingly, and I do that. And yet something in me stirs and says, get up, right? So we have that. We have this idea that there is an opportunity right now to make a difference. I think that probably a lot of people, myself included, have sort of questioned what it is that we get together for every week, on Sundays and in classes. Why do we read those books in the self-help section? Is it just so we can feel a little better in the safety and in the confines of our own carefully constructed world? No. That's a start. But there's more. Of course there's more. So our moreness, our off-the-couchness, that's something within us that really does want to make a difference, that does want to make history, that is inspired by the examples of those who we watch and read about and talk about and honor and listen to. Those inspiring examples stir something in us. And so we do get up. And we might find that we don't know what to do next. Here's another thing about love. Love points the way. Love offers direction. When we get quiet, when we go apart a while, when we go into our closet, when we close the door, when we turn off our attention to the outside world, step away, turn away from distractions, and simply get still and ask, love will give us an idea. Love will give us an inspiration. Love will give us a seed of thought, an impulse, maybe even a compulsion. Right? Something so powerful that we have to pay attention to it. So that's another reason to take love along. Love has every reason to be part of what we pack on our journey of making a difference. I watched a TED Talk the other day. I found that if you Google the TED Talks, they're about 20 some odd minutes, and they work really well when it's not nice enough to eat my lunch outside. I watch one while I'm having my lunch. And this woman, I don't remember her name, gave a talk. She's a life coach, and she's sort of a kick-butt kind of life coach. And she said that there is a scientific study that's been done that if we do not respond with some type of action within the first 5 seconds of getting an inspiration, the greatest opportunity for its fulfillment is lost. It wanes and it passes. And she talked about it as actionable something or other. So I don't remember the scientific proof, okay? I don't remember exactly who said it. What I do remember is how that idea struck me. She said, for example, there's going to be some music after my talk, and if you have the urge to get up and dance, but you stay in your chair, you blew it. That opportunity will come again, but this one will be gone. I thought of all the times that I have waited longer than 5 seconds to follow love's guidance, to get up and do this thing that I'm called to do, that I have no idea how I'm going to accomplish it. But that's the way life is. Deepak Chopra, I've been attempting to listen to a 10 CD series from Deepak Chopra called Finding God. I think that's, and I don't know if I'm going to make it, because 10 CDs is a really long time. and my commute's only 10 minutes, so it can take me a year. However, he said that when a seed thought comes to us, the idea of something comes to us, if we do not act on it right away, the potential life held within that seed is lost. He says it dies. Now, I know seeds have different, staying power. Thank goodness for that, right? We can put them in our storehouse, and we can plant them when the season is right. But see the correlation here? We're talking about being inspired to do something. And we're saying, oh my gosh, if I say that that's the case, then look out, because probably an idea is going to come, and then what am I going to do? And we hear that possibly if we don't do something, at least write it down, make a plan, make a phone call, send an email, take a step, do something in the first 5 seconds, we may miss that one. It's like a train, right? Train comes through the station. Like the ones at the airport, they're really fast, right? You're like, is this the one? Is this mine? I better know in advance something about how to recognize my train, or I'm going to have to let that one go and wait for the next one. Thankfully, Spirit gives us many opportunities, and that's okay. If we miss this one, there'll be another one. And yet, we want to talk about this one, this opportunity that's happening for each of us right now. So we have the impulse, the 5-second rule. We have Deepak Chopra talking to us about the life possibility within a seed. We have a class starting on Tuesday about the teachings of Thomas Troward, in which the creative process is outlined as something that begins with desire. It begins with emotion, actually, is what he says. And we make a decision about it. We either choose to engage or to blow it off, right? And that life either takes shape and form and has life and then carries on, or it doesn't. Same thing. One of the best things that I love to talk about is in our spiritual laws class, which is not running right now. And that's the idea that when this impulse comes, when this inspiration comes, when this seed thought arrives, it's always the perfect season. It's always the perfect time. The circumstances are ripe for its fulfillment. So we have been learning around here to think of inspiration, impulse, desire, and possibility differently. See, from a state of separation and disempowerment and so on, no understanding of how this all works, we felt just overwhelmed when we have an idea about which we know nothing, right? However, if we understand that impulse, that idea, that seed comes always in its perfect season when circumstances are ripe for it to be supported, to be fulfilled, we can start seeing those things differently. We can celebrate them more and fear them less. And we can have some confidence. We can have some faith and some trust about those inspirations. So my favorite summation of that teaching is that desire announces possibility. Think about Eckhart Tolle and the power of now. It's not the power of yesterday or the power of tomorrow, it's the power of now. When you look at nature and you see any plant going to seed, when is it going to seed? It's going to seed at the end of a growing season. And what that is also the beginning of the next. Have you ever been in a line of traffic approaching a light and you're like, oh, I am so far back here on this green light, I'm not going to make it. It changes, but then you get to be first for the next one, right? Right? How perfect. So, when any part of our life goes to seed, it is the perfect time for this new life to be buried under the leaves, insulated and protected in the darkness, comfortable in the soil, down deep, to gestate and to begin to form the new life that is that power-packed potential. It's all in there, right? And then spring comes at the perfect time for the sprouting. Summer comes at the perfect time for the flowering to lead to budding fruit, right? And then fall comes at the perfect time for the fruit to finally be fully formed and harvested. And we do it all again. What if the season for you making history, for you doing something bold and big in love, with love, for love, in this world is ripe? What if that harebrained idea that you have about something that you'd like to say or do or bring into the world, maybe you're going to publish it, maybe you're going to paint it, maybe you're going to sing it, maybe it's a poem, maybe it's a group, who knows what it is. But what if that idea also has arrived in its perfect season? What that means is that all of the conditions are right. What that means is that everything necessary for the fulfillment of that idea is at hand. What that means is that when you need to know more, you will know it. And when you need to have more, you will have it. And so on and so on. Because that's the way nature works. And you're part of nature. So I'm suggesting today that when we ask ourselves, how will I make my mark? Remember this. Be bold enough to ask the question and listen carefully. Listen and be prepared to act. And when you don't know yet what you need to do next, know that what you know now is enough. You're on a need-to-know basis, and whatever you need to know, you'll always know. And whatever you require will always be at hand. This is living life as life is already designed and already operating. It's getting into alignment with that. And then it's not so difficult. You're not alone. It's not so mysterious or challenging. We all shift over to more inspiration, more, I can't wait, more. So I ask you today to consider that possibly this season, right now, the person that you are right now, this place where you are right now, it's all perfect. And there is something that love is asking you to do that will change history. What is it? And when will you begin? Thank you.